We need just one trophy to complete Glory Hunter, but of course it's the biggest trophy we need to win. It's the Champions League. And at Real Madrid, we have some very talented players on their way. So obviously Barcelona won the league last year, but we did win the Copa del Rey. Elsewhere, Manchester United win the Premier League. Bayern Munich won the Bundesliga. PSG continues to dominate France. Miss you, Nicholas. Inter Milan almost win the league by 20 points, despite AC Milan having one of, if not the best striker on the game. And 58% should subscribe. While Bayern Munich win the Champions League on penalties against Spurs. Dusan and João Felix arrive and it's business time. And with the outgoings, we've been able to maneuver the budget to give us £60 million to buy a player. With my plan to bring in a better goalkeeper, as we only actually have one left. And Garza is the man we've had a bid accepted for. He's not world class, but for the price, he's definitely worth it. And just like that, he's our number one goalkeeper. We also lose Militao as he retires from the professional game. Remember last year, by the way, when we had 5 right backs? Well, now we only have 1, and I have no idea how that happened. So we got an offer accepted for Kalulu for £17.25 million. And we get the deal done, and for a 34-year-old, I think he's still decent. Now, before we hit the first game of the season, we've changed the tactic to a diamond. With our first game of the season being away to Vallecano, we bring in our new signings across the pitch. Dusan Vlahovic is perfect for that target forward role, and I'm excited to see the link-up play of this front three with Cisse when he comes off the bench or in rotation. And we absolutely dominated the game 7-1. And João Felix put in a 10 out of 10 performance, starting off with a free kick, breaking through for a second and capping off his hat-trick with another identical second free kick. We actually play Barcelona in the next match too, an early El Clasico. Unchanged side against Barcelona, the champions. And what a performance it was. All 3 goals came in the second half, but the overall performance was fantastic. Vlahovic picking up the first, left back Lecce getting the second, and Kjærgaard rounding off the game in the 88th minute. I had £10 million left in the budget and went for 33-year-old Oliver Skip for some depth in midfield. Chelsea then came in with £30 million up front offer for Canales, who is a winger. And we're not even using wingers, so I accepted it. Canales leaves, Skip joins, and my window is done. Our Champions League group is drawn, and we have the current holders, Bayern Munich, in our group. We kick things off in September with a loss to Celta Vigo and a draw to Mallorca, unfortunately. But 2 goals from Cisse and Vinny Jr. got us back on track in the league versus Getafe. But most importantly, we started off very strong in the Champions League, winning 6-0 with Vlahovic scoring a hat-trick. We followed that with a 6-1 win in Belgium against Standard Liège. But the Bayern game we knew would be a lot tougher, and in Munich, we took the lead. 2 minutes later, a former Real Madrid player scored a penalty. After some scrappy defending though, Dusan took advantage and scored a second. But in the second half, a gap opened up for Adeyemi, who was clinical and finished the game 2-2. The rest of October was fantastic too, as we carried on winning the league, only conceding 1 goal in 4 games against Villarreal in a 5-1 win. Funny enough though, we're still in second place because the only team to beat us, Celta Vigo, are flying right now and still unbeaten. We are top of the Champions League group on goal difference though, and after a very tight win against Huesca at home, we welcome the European champions Bayern Munich to the Bernabeu in the only way we know how, with Kirillov scoring in the first half and João Felix notching another in the second. We followed that win with a 3-0 victory away to Espanyol. The second goal by João Felix was beautifully crafted, and the third was a fantastic cross ball, touch and finish by left back Lecce. Another 2 wins followed, 1 in the league against Girona and a 7-1 home win in the Champions League, and things are looking great for us. We are still trailing Celta Vigo, however. Cisse is getting a run of starts and repaid that back by scoring a lot of goals, including a hat-trick in the snow when we travelled to Ukraine. The result was 4-0 and it cemented us to the top of the group. We surrounded that game with an unbelievable amount of goals and 3 points in all 3 of our La Liga matches, including this incredible 8-2 result in the Madrid derby with Vinicius getting 4 goals and João Felix getting a hat-trick. And then in January, this happened. Yep, we signed Erling Haaland. Now it is at the end of the season when his contract expires, but still, he is world class and one hell of a pickup. January started with a 1-0 win against Las Palmas thanks to Vlahovic's goal, game in which he adds an extra year onto his contract. We win the Super Cup, which nobody cares cares about, and beat Sociedad and progress in the Copa del Rey, with Sevilla and Barcelona coming up next. And after dispatching Sevilla 3-0, we head into El Clasico with this lineup due to 3 first-team suspensions. And to say we missed them would be an understatement. We lost 4-0. We are still top in the league, however, and Celta Vigo have dropped off. But we've been drawn against my old Inter Milan team in the next round of the Champions League. Despite beating them 8-2 last time round, Atletico knocked us out the Copa del Rey 3-2. But 3 more league wins puts us in a good spot for the Inter Milan game. A game in which we knew would be difficult, and we could have done without making a defensive mistake to gift them a first goal. Luckily though, a long ball over the top found Tchouaméni to fire in an equaliser. However, Inter Milan regained the lead just 5 minutes later, but João Felix popped up once again with another exceptional free kick to leave the first leg 2 apiece. Second leg, and yet again Tchouaméni found himself in and chipped the goalkeeper. Vinicius Jr. killed the tie off when he scored a penalty. And just a quick reminder that Tchouaméni's finishing is a 5 out of 20, and yet the man has been clinical. The March League results though, 3 draws, meaning we dropped down to second place, but still with a game in hand. And we've drawn Liverpool in the quarter-final. Leading up to that match, we finally got a win in the league, back with a 5-2 victory away to Betis. Vinicius Jr. is out with an injury, so Cisse and Vlahovic are starting the first leg against Liverpool. And Cisse was the guy to open the scoring on the half-hour mark at Anfield. However, you can never write Liverpool off in European nights, and they equalised just before half-time. But that's how this leg ended. Things were very different at the Bernabeu when Cisse opened the scoring. Vlahovic then scored a penalty and got on the end of a corner. Tchouaméni was then found with another long ball to make it 4-0. And finally, Cisse sent the Scousers home in tears, making it 5-0 or 6-1 on aggregate. We are still a point behind Barcelona in the league, and it's PSG in the semi-final, another former club. 3 more wins in the league restores us to the top of La Liga, and it's time to host PSG. Rocking the same team as the 5-0 win against Liverpool, let's go again. From the off, Nicolas Audren caused us problems assisting Damien Perez. And from our kickoff, Audren scored a goal of his own. That man Tchouaméni once again got himself on the score sheet to make it 2-1. But PSG restored their 2-goal lead through Arsene Zakarian. The last goal of the game came when Cisse scored in the second half, 3-2. Vinicius is only good enough for the bench after his injury, so a similar team starts in Paris. But we put on an all-time Champions League classic semi-final tie, starting with a João Felix goal. Audren equalised on the night around the half-hour mark, but from our kickoff, Kirillov put us back level on aggregate. João Felix in the 80th minute then scored, and Pierre Kalulu got another one on the 84th, and at that point, we are 2 goals ahead. But our old friend Audren is just way too good, and he scored a second. And in the 92nd minute, he equalised, sending us into extra time, where thankfully, João Felix scored a penalty, sending us through to the Champions League final. And how poetic that Manchester United are the team to face us in the final. And with back-to-back 6-0 wins in the league, we are potentially 1 win away from winning La Liga. And that game is Real Sociedad at home, which started off great when Cisse scored within 3 minutes. João Felix increased our lead to 2, and by the time Vinny Jr. put in the third, it was almost game over. But there was still time for Cisse to pick up a 4th and his hat-trick to cap off a fantastic day. However, Barcelona also won, and this title goes to the next match, meaning we could actually win the league against our Madrid rivals. And we drew that game 1-1, and that's all that we needed. We are once again La Liga champions. But that's not what we're here for, is it? It's the Champions League final. We are starting Kalulu, who has been outstanding for us at centre-back alongside Inacio, but the rest of the team is the usual strongest lineup. And we begin piling on the pressure before the ball is dropped back to Tchouaméni, who somehow finds Lecce, the left-back, with a wonderful pass, an unbelievable volley to open the scoring. But just as we broke their defence, United played an over-the-top through ball to my old signing Dedic, who chipped the goalkeeper. But in the 80th minute, we attack again. Felix to Olvera, through ball to Lecce, 1 pass to Vinicius, who chips the goalkeeper. And we held on, and we completed Glory Hunter. We finally add the Champions League trophy, the final trophy, to our trophy cabinet. And we finally tick off our Glory Hunter bingo card. Now, I'll put this save game file up on patreon.com/MegaLootGaming on the £5 tier. Should you wish to download it, take a look at it. Carry on the save if you wish, but massive thank you for watching this series. Why don't you watch this video where we try and break Lionel Messi's 2012 record. Thank you once again.